This is Pastor Steve Knutson, Senior Pastor here at First Lutheran Church, and I'm bringing you Light for Today, a daily devotion. In the Gospel story for Sunday from John chapter 9, Jesus heals a man who has been born blind. The story is more than just about gaining physical sight. It is about spiritual insight, seeing things that perhaps we are blind to or overlook in other ways. In the story, we find neighbors and others who have considered the man only in terms of his condition, his blindness, and never really recognized the man for who he was. Jesus sees him simply as a human being, a child of God, worthy of his care and compassion. I think today we are seeing our world in a whole new way. We are seeing things that have often been hidden from us. We're seeing the truth of things that were concealed. And what do we see? For one, we are beginning to see how fragile life is and how interconnected and mutually dependent we are on one another. We are realizing that no one is an island, for we all belong to a web of connection and interdependence. We are seeing in new ways how one person's purchase becomes another person's source of income and livelihood, and when we turn that spigot of commerce off, we are all affected. We are also seeing how the actions of one person can have such ramifications on all of us. And so we are practicing social distancing and appropriate ways in which we might live in the world for the well-being of others. We're also seeing the humanity of others and recognizing one another in new ways. You can see behind me tables of box lunches being assembled for our Saturday evening meals program. Each week for 30 years, we have provided meals for those who live on the margins of life. But in this time of pandemic, we also continue to provide meals. And as I look at these lunch boxes, in a way, I see them in a whole new way. And so at this moment, I want to invite Ruth Earhart, who is in charge of the meals program, to come forward and just for me to ask a few questions of her. Ruth, thank you very much for your work. And so let me ask first, how will these meals be served into the community?
We have 200 box lunches ready to go out for this week. 75 of those will be pre-packed here. They just need a sandwich and then they're ready to go. And we will deliver those directly to the overflow shelter so people don't have to come out from there. And then another 65 will be delivered to Willis Dady Center, which will also provide that shelter with meals for the meal for Saturday. And then we'll have another 60 boxes left for those who may still come to First Lutheran at 4:30 for the regular time on Saturday.
Where does the food come from?
The food comes from a number of places. We've purchased some of it to get the packaged things for this week through our SEMP funding, but we also get a lot from HACAP. HACAP gets things from places like Hotel Kirkwood that announced that they're closing down their food service this week. We got some wonderful fresh produce from them that will be working into menus.
And who helps to who are the volunteers that help to serve all these meals?
Well, we have people who have called and are willing to help, and we graciously want to thank them, but we do need to keep numbers small because of the situation that we're in right now. So on a weekly basis, we'll contact the SEMP team that's up for that week and talk about what the needs are and how many people we need so that we keep our group small as well.
Thank you very much, Ruth. I think one of the striking aspects is how Jesus helps us to see the world with fresh eyes. Time and again, he has this capacity to stop and turn to the side and pay attention to a person in need, and to see that person as a child of God, fully worthy of his consideration and attention. But I think also the gospel stories are about how they help us to see the face of God in this life, to see the capacity of God to restore human life and dignity, to see the presence of God in our lives, to see how God works restoration and renewal in so many ways, to see the deeper truth of God's grace and mercy. And so on this day, I pray God's peace and hope for you. Until tomorrow, have a good day.